went to the shop for the first time in December, I knew how important this race team was going to be to me personally before we ever hit the racetrack. So it's been an area in NASCAR racing, especially the Busch Series, that there's tons of great drivers out there. In the mark of a driver that can win races and ultimately, contend for a championship is the race team that's behind him. And it probably took me more years than not to understand how important a team is to me as a driver. And when my opportunity came about with Timberwolf and Brewco, the spotlight really showed upon my race team. And that's why I'm so appreciative of that, because I cannot do it on my own, and there's no I in the team. So, it's all about my team, and I knew that 2003 was going to be a season that I would always remember because of the commitment my team was making to me to get me back in championship form and win races. So I had that feeling, and boy, that feeling felt so good, and that happened at the very first race and prior to the first race. We knew that when we went down there, that might not have been our strongest suit right off the get-go, but it is the first race. And but that's where I reflect back on to every member of the race team's attitude, that their never give up attitude, their excitement of just being involved with a group like this, led by our crew chief Jason Ratcliffe, our team owner Clarence Brewer, Todd Wilkerson, everybody that runs the day-to-day activities of the race team. That was what was bestowed onto these guys before we ever went to Daytona. So we were able to come out of a race that was not to our likings, not where we want to finish, but we knew that was a building block. It was our first year together, our first race together. So, and I made plenty of mistakes that first race. I actually missed my pit, and I just didn't recognize the guys that was coming in to service my car. So, that was my fault. But at the same time we left, everybody had a huge smile on their face. I was pumped up, and I think that was really the fuel to our fire to go ahead and show them the next week that, hey, now we've got a race under our belt as a team. We're going to go back and show you the next week.
New pole sitter David Green knocks Jamie McMurray off the pole. And David Green has caught Todd Bodine and goes high for second place.
Once we left Daytona, we knew we had tapped right back into that momentum. And when we got to Rockingham, everything kind of fell in place. And again, more than all the little trophies, what exceeded all that was seeing the smiles on my team's face and having now 2 races under our belt and being so excited, and just couldn't wait to get the rest of them.
David Green right now is our new pole sitter at a 15-16, and that will be a new track record.
I got to tell you, that 37 car keeps the engine a little bit closer.
I knew about the time we left Bristol that all my prayers and had been answered, and my dreams were coming true. And it was too good to be true, but at the same time, our excitement level kept us, from pinching ourselves too many times on the arm, saying, is this really for real? It was probably a little more dramatic than maybe it needed to be, because we were right on track that whole race as well. We had a fast race car. My guys were showing again, week after week, never giving up and being so close to getting in victory lane and just working that much harder the following week. And when we got to Nashville, it seemed like all those extra efforts were rewarded to us as a team right at the very end.
David's got a run coming up out of turn 2. He's alongside.
They nearly touch midway down the back straightaway. It's a horsepower battle to turn number 3. David Green wins it.
I still can't describe the excitement I had as a driver, not for me and my personal accomplishments as another victory in my column, but what stood above all that was Timberwolf's first win since Jeff Purvis had won in Texas. My team's first win with a new body style Pontiac. Our first win in 2003 as a new group. Just so much excitement that I still, to this day, get cold chills up and down my back about it. It's something you want to run by over and over and over again, but I think that really set the tone for the rest of our season. Man, we were on a roll at that point. We couldn't wait to get prepared for the following race. It seemed like when we were getting a top 10, we were missing the top 5 by 1 position, or if we missed the top 10, we finished 11th. So really, we were on a roll, and that's what race wins does for a team. But again, the thing that I'm most proud about is if we hadn't have won, that enthusiasm was still there because we would have done it the following week. But it's one of them deals to where that momentum gets going, and I really feel like this race team, the Timberwolf Brewco team, can operate without momentum. So when we do have momentum, it's like, hey, competition, you better watch out because we're coming. So it was a fun part of the summer throughout that stretch, and just one that I knew when I left a particular racetrack, I could not wait to leave on Wednesday or Thursday to go to the next one. A special weekend in several ways. The Bear family had moved the track around a little bit and redesigned it. Had not been one of my most favorite racetracks finish-wise, but it had always been a fun area to go to. And I had a special moment prior to going to that race that I wanted to remember a dear friend, Adam Petty, and I thought it's going to be cool to remember him in a positive fashion. And lo and behold, we had what might be one of my best races ever because of who I battled. Kevin Harvick, NASCAR's bad boy, you might say, and we raced him, we passed him, we showed how strong we were in holding him off, and then to get the checkered flag at Loudon, New Hampshire, to be able to take a moment to remember Adam was something that I will never ever forget my whole career, in my whole life.
But we got to remember Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin. Adam, a good friend of ours, and we miss him, and this is for you, Adam.
I was so happy to be able to do that with Timberwolf and Brewco, all over my uniform, and again, looking over my shoulder and seeing my team just so excited, not because now this is victory number 2, but it's another fun weekend at the racetrack.
Scott Riggs with a little pressure on David, but did he tap him? And behind him, David Stremme spins. David Green, the championship leader, is into the wall and hit again by his brother Jeff.
We went to Dover as the point leader. Got spun out on lap 10 or so of a 200 lap race, and unfortunately the guy that spun me out was a guy that I was battling with the point lead at that point. So. And I bring this up because it was so disappointing for me. It was disappointing for my team. But my team showed the character and the class that I always knew they had, and they were, through the most difficult times of 2003. We had just got wrecked, lost a race car, one of our best race cars. We just lost the point lead, and it was really kind of just a silly little accident. And my team stuck their heads down, fixed my race car, went out and made laps to not lose as many points. And they could have rat and raved through stuff. I could have done the same thing, but my team helped guide me through those tough times. And boy, they showed how big of champions they were that weekend. Got down to the end, and Michael Waltrip was obviously going to win the race, and we were going to have another solid third place finish. And he had his tire problem, and then we had a restart with Bobby Jr. and myself up front, and I just thought if I do everything right, we'll have a shot. And as Mark Martin, probably one of the greatest drivers of all time, always says, as a driver, all you want is a shot. And my team put me in position to have a shot.
1 lap to go at Kansas. Green to the inside. Oh, the Junior's in trouble. David Green is going to pick up the win.
I tried to do everything right, and it came out on top. And it's sort of like the clouds were up in the sky, and the clouds just parted, and the sunshine shined on us as a team once again. And I think what was more satisfying is my team showed that through the worst part of our season at Dover, emotionally, they were able to bounce back, keep their focus, never throw their fist or say stuff like, you know, that shouldn't have happened to Dover, this, that, and other. They soldiered on. They went to Kansas and just took right up where we left off prior to lap 16 at Dover. And that was being the point leader and being a championship team. And then as we go into Homestead, you know, our goal was to finish ahead of all the other competitors, and of course Brian Vickers, that was a leader at that point. But we knew it was a tough task. We start the race, and within 2 laps of the race, they have an accident, and we have a flat tire. Now all of a sudden, we're 3 laps down in a 200-lap race, and it's like Mount Everest in front of us. There's maybe no end in sight, and there were several times throughout the course of the race that I was close to pitching into town and said, hey, you know, we're going to be 5th in the points, or 6th, or who knows what the damage is going to be. But as we soldiered on, and my radio kept filling into my ear with, you know, it's not over yet. You know, you're the fastest car on the racetrack. Your times are good. We're not going to give up. Those were the words that were so inspiring to me the final, you know, 200 laps of the 2003 season. And before you knew it, we fought our way back. We were back on the lead lap. And at that point, you know, I got a deep breath, and my crew chief and Jason and my spotter Ty and everyone there, all the Timberwolf folks, you could look over on pit road and see them just hooping and hollering.
The way it started, I thought, well, we'll do the best we can, you know, but you just keep the faith, keep digging, and that's what this race team's doing. And David Green, whether he wins it or not, he's a champion to us. He's worked super hard today. He drove the wheels off that thing, and we still got a shot at it. We'll just have to see how it plays out here.
Those were the most fierce 50 laps I'd driven ever, I think, in my career, because I knew I had to get past the 5 car, and I had to get as many people in between us as we could, between Brian and I, to win the championship. We passed him. We tried to put cars between us, and you know, we came up 2 positions short. And you know, as much as I wanted to cry afterwards, you know, I did not cry because I was so excited, because my race team showed that through you know, all the disappointment with losing a Busch Grand National Championship, which is the highest honor this race team had the opportunity to get this year. I was floored with excitement, because, you know, we were probably a team that they said could not do it. You know, it was a small team that couldn't, but it was a small team that almost did it. And so it was a cool deal. It's very sad not to win it, but I'm proud of my guys because they put me in position. They let me drive the wheels off that Timberwolf Pontiac. We passed the guy that won the championship. We kind of drove off into the sunset at Homestead, but we didn't put enough cars between us. So as the sun set, to me, we left Homestead as champions. We just didn't get the trophy. We just came up a little bit short, but it was a lot of fun, and they sure put me back on the map as a driver, and hopefully we can say, hey, everybody knows about Team Brewco and Timberwolf for the upcoming seasons in NASCAR racing.